Încerc să vă dau așa un high level ce am învățat eu în 20 de ani de construit startup-uri în toată lumea. Da, nu știu, am multe povești. So, brief background, dacă e ok să vorbesc în engleză pentru toată lumea, că mă ajută.
Da, în engleză.
Are ceva, ok? Yeah, deci am aproape 20 de ani, 20 years of software engineering, global entrepreneurship, am făcut startups, many countries, USA, Mexico, Canada, India, Romania. I've filed 3 patent applications in the US. I built a Uber taxi, just like Uber taxi dispatching system, launched it a year before Uber launched. I built a luggage tracking system. I built a system for doing lottery systems in India on non-banked markets over phone numbers. So I've done some really interesting architecture projects, high, ultra scale and enterprise engineering projects. So I know a lot about, how to architect and how to sequence technical development to have better chances for success. I started 2 companies in Romania. Actually, I moved back to Romania at the beginning of 2018 after 25 years of never looking back. My parents left Romania in 85. We left and we went to America, and I lived in the States until 2018. Of course, we came back when we were little and did trips when we were little, and then job and life took over, and I never came back 25 years. And when I got back, I decided, wow, Romania is like the wild east. This is like the next place, for launching companies, tech companies. And so I launched about 10 startups 3 years ago. Every startup that I could possibly think of to relaunch in Romania, I relaunched it. I bought like 30 domain names, .ro, .coms, everything I could think of, and launched 10 startups, all kinds of different startups. Out of those 10, the first year, only 6 survived. And then after the second year, only MedicPad and Pay by Face survived. And there's, my consulting tech company still working, but out of the initial 10, these MedicPad and Pay by Face were the last 2 standing. And even these aren't completely done yet. They still, could fail, but they're at least still alive. So how did I start? I have sort of my preference on how do you start a company. And clearly you have to solve a problem. If you're not solving a problem, you're not building a company. So you need to, be very aware of what's happening around you, observe your surroundings, what makes you irritated, what annoys you every day. I've heard a lot of the stories so far, about, well, I think I can do something better, and that the first step, you saw that there was a problem there. You saw that the way things are could be better. And that's important that you see that, because most people, they don't even think there is a problem. They don't even know there is a problem because it's just the way it's done. So if it's just the way it's done, you don't think there is a problem. So at least you are already seeing beyond the normal. And then the second step is what makes you happy, right? What makes you comfortable and feel good and secure, right? Whether you're feeling secure, because you're using blockchain and it can't be, altered and blah, blah, blah. Or it makes you happy because you're helping people, improve their technical skill sets at work, or whatever it is, you want to give that back at the end of the day when you solve this problem for people. So, and then can you do it by yourself, right? Could you improve this situation if, for example, you had all the resources, all the money, everything was already there? Would it be something you can improve? Do you have control over this problem yourself? Can you go make a difference, right? Because if it's like a PSD problem, right, it's hard, right? You got to get out in the streets and riot. And we've been rioting for how many years, and it's still a problem. So it's hard. right? So you have to pick a problem that you know you can actually solve. Maybe you're not by yourself, but you can make a difference. So that's important. Otherwise, you're going to waste your time. And then make sure that it's not just you complaining about this problem. Make sure there's other people that can also complain about the same problem, because, you know, just solving your own problem isn't going to help the world, and it's not going to create a company. You need to solve problems for a lot of people at the same time, you know, and that starts going towards the problem. So the idea is what problem are we solving? The second step, like Oli mentioned, and I think legal and accounting are the second most important thing to solving problems, is having a good legal and accounting team at your company or in your, you know, network. Almost like as if the legal and accounting team are like your wife and your girlfriend, because they are probably the most important thing to making you a success. So very important, start making an attorney your friend. You know, get an attorney that you trust, an attorney that knows what you're working on, that knows the laws around what you're working on, and make sure that attorney, you know, is there for you, because you're going to need an attorney every single day of a company until the beginning, until the end. So make sure that when you're going to go, like, you know, the blockchain situation, it doesn't stand in court. That could be a problem, right? So if you didn't know that, and you weren't aware of that situation, it could come in the future and really kill your business, and you never thought about it because you just didn't go get legal advice. So make sure you vet your ideas from a legal perspective, from a regulation perspective, and it's not that you have to go know this stuff. Just find an attorney that knows it and have them tell you, right? Or find a few attorneys if you don't believe the first one. See if the second one tells you the same thing, but get an attorney. Right? And then the second step is you need to go find an accountant, because you're not going to have time to manage your finances. You're not going to have time to do all that and build a business. You need to get an accountant to take care of your financial responsibility, so that you pay your bills, you pay your taxes, and you pay the people that need to keep you in business on time and responsibly. Otherwise, you're going to ruin your business reputation, and people aren't going to do business with you. So you need a proper accountant that can handle your finances. So that's also important on the accounting side, is because maybe this is the first time you're going to go, you know, leave your job, your secure paycheck, you know, month to month, where, you know how much you're going to be making, into a situation where you may not make any money for a very long time. And so every penny is going to count. Every sort of bill that ends up in your mailbox is going to count. And you need to know sort of, what does it cost to run a business? What is the basic cost? Even if you start a CRL, there's costs to create a CRL. There's costs, you know, to file the paperwork. There's fees. And so, you know, you might say, oh, I have an idea, I'm going to go build a CRL, and then, you know, then we'll see what happens. Well, it's going to cost you money. So you need to know what those costs are. And an accountant will be able to help you sort of with that initial bare minimum budget that you need to get a business of your own running. And of course, some of you might be way ahead, you know, and this doesn't apply to you because you've already started and you're already going. But for the people that are starting for the first time, this is always what I, you know, my first thing for any business. The next thing is obviously make sure that, you know, you're not crazy. And even though people are going to tell you you're crazy at first, you need to go tell other people about your idea and see what they think about it. Most of them are going to say, no, you're crazy, I'm not interested, I think you're wasting your time. Or they're going to be jealous that, why didn't I think of this? And, you know, I can do it better. And they're going to try to give you all this advice on how you should change your idea to what they should, you know. Everyone's going to try to stray you into a different direction. And it's very important that you know sort of the idea and why you're doing it, what the problem is. You know, you validate it with your accounting, you know what it's going to cost you to do this idea, and then you go see if other people have sort of will believe in your idea, right? So just go talk to people. And that's why you guys are in this program. You've already passed, you know, the first 2 slides of my presentation. So good job so far. you're still going. So now it's the plan, right? And these are sort of the steps that we're going to learn in this program. I have these steps that I like to follow, and sometimes it needs to go in this order, but sometimes it doesn't. But typically in this order, it's a good order to do it in. The first one is to figure out, how you will make money with your product. And that's probably why we put the financial and the budget and the forecasting in the first part of this program, because if you're not in business to make money, you might as well go to church, right? Or go start a church, or go start a charity, or go start a nonprofit, because we're here to make money. And if you can't make money with your business, or you don't know if you're going to make money or how much money, you're going to waste every single thing after that. You can't wait to make money at the very end, because that's going to be really hard. It's going to put a lot of pressure on your investors and on your team. It's going to stress you out, and you're going to lose all your hair. So it's better to know how you're going to make money with your business, even at the idea phase. Even if it's just basic concepts, you should have a way to make money with it. Next, you need to know how long it's going to take you before you make that money, right? How much effort do you need to go in building your product, in figuring out the customer needs, and figuring out what your value proposition is, and figuring out if I need to go hire an engineer, all of that stuff. You need to sort of outline that in a timeline. I'm going to say, okay, I want to build a company, and in 2 years, I want to make, I want to make my first sale in 2 years. And again, a lot of you probably already have revenues. You already have your product. You're generating revenues. You already know how you're making money. You probably already know what your timeline is. But for those that are getting started, you kind of need to know a little bit about what the future is going to look like, and what milestones you need to accomplish to show either yourself, your team, or your investors that you're making progress. So put together a basic timeline, like in 6 months, we want to have the product ready. In 12 months, we want to have investment. In 18 months, we want to have our first sale, and blah, 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 and so forth. So make a timeline. And then basically get into that timeline and pick each milestone you put on there, and then dive deep into it. Like, okay, we want the MVP in 6 months. What does it mean to have the MVP in 6 months? Does that mean you need to go get a developer? Does that mean you need a designer? Does that mean whatever that means? You need to make that sort of list under each timeline of what it means to do each one of those major milestones. Then when you have all of that and you think, oh my gosh, let's go get some money. No, it's not time to go get money. It's time to break it apart. It's time to start hammering on your plan with a hammer, and shooting it with bullets, and trying to break it. See if you can break your own business with legal requirements, with people leaving the organization. What happens if your CEO leaves? You put in 12 months into this plan and your CEO just left. What are you going to do? Does the whole company fall apart? Right? So you have to start picking it apart. Pick it apart, break your own company, and find out its weaknesses, so that you can go back, and when you build it up again, you can cover those weaknesses. And if the CEO leaves, we have a backup plan. If our lead engineer leaves, we have a backup plan. If anything happens, we know how to solve that. So you don't have to solve it completely, but you actually at least have to be aware that these risks, this is all about risks. What are the risks of your business? What are those risks? As many as you can possibly think of, play them out, and brainstorm about that. And then when you put it all back together, right? Put it all back together. Make sure you really put it. This is kind of the business plan level, where you're actually putting a business plan, but not the traditional business plan. This is basically your pitch deck. In this scope of this program, this is where you get all this stuff, you break it apart, and now we put our pitch deck together so that we have a execution of our goals. So these are the main components of getting something started. And every time you launch something, you should probably go through these things, on a minor or major scale, but it's sort of the same pattern. But now once you have this plan in place, now you've got to go actually build something, but you can't do it alone. So it's really important. This is where, Donna and all the mentors come in, is make sure you very carefully pick your team. Very carefully pick your team. So your team is everything. The co-founder you pick will determine whether you are successful or not. your chief engineer or your developer, everything that you do on the team that you're picking right now, every single person should have a value and a reason to be on that team, and they should earn that spot on that team. Don't just pick them because they're your best friend. Don't just pick them because you think they will be okay. Make sure that everybody on your team can carry their own weight, can do the job, and is qualified for it. As much as you love that person and you grew up with them in high school, if they can't do the job, do not hire them. Do not put them on your team because they will cause you to fail. So it's very important who you pick on your team. Now, once you have a team, make sure that everybody knows what they're doing, right? And make sure that everybody understands why they're doing what they're doing. And it's really important to separate everyone's responsibilities into a very sort of organized fashion. Just like, you have a team of soccer players, you got your striker, you got your goalie, you got your midfield, any organized sport has a formation. So this is the formation that I like the most. You have your founder formation. The founder sets the culture. The founder sets the vision. The founder goes for funding primarily. The founder sets the strategy, and the founder motivates the team, and clearly the founder has to generate revenues. If the founder cannot do any of those or any one of those, if he can't do one of those, it might be okay. If he can't do two of those, you're risking failure. If you can't do three of those, you're going to fail. So make sure that the founder, the person that came up with the idea and is motivated to take this to the end, can do all of those things very well. The co-founders need to do the backup stuff. So the co-founders should be responsible primarily for the product and service, clearly sales, customer service, HR, engineering, and financials. Those co-founders, whether there's one co-founder, two co-founders, three co-founders, I don't care how many co-founders you have, they have to be able to concentrate on these sets of tasks. And this is a little more flexible right now. It's not so, do or die kind of stuff, but you have to cover as much of these areas when you're picking your co-founders. Make sure you pick a co-founder that comes from, product and service or customer service, or, if you're building a people person oriented company, make sure they come from HR. If you're building a software company, make sure they're a CTO engineering department, right? If you're not the founder CTO. Make sure they come from financials if you're going to have a very money capital intense business that requires a lot of initial or Horizon 20, right, funding. You need someone that knows the financial aspects of your business. So make sure you pick your co-founders to cover as many of these areas as you possibly can. The third step is marketing. You got to build a demand for your software. You got to build a demand for the supply. If you got the supply, you got to build demand for it. Otherwise, you could have the coolest, the coolest thing in the market. If nobody knows about it, it's going to disappear. So you need a good marketing team that knows how to communicate, knows how to make your product look good, and knows how to basically create trust, confidence in the consumer market. If you're a B2C, right? If you're B2B, it's totally different, a little bit different, but it's still marketing, and you need to have marketing. It's very important. And then again, don't forget about the legal accounting. I won't cover that again, but that's what keeps your business alive, is the legal accounting side. And so what I kind of like, I heard this one time, I think I was, in Dallas, maybe several years ago or something, I think a VC might have told me this, but he said, if you can't make money without money, you're not going to be able to make money with money. So I don't care how much money I throw at you. If you can't generate some sort of value from absolutely nothing, it's not going to make any damn difference if I give you $10 or $100 or $10 million. You're still not going to know what to do. So go give me some value without anything. Just walk out onto the street and go build some value by yourself. If you know how to do that, the principles that are used to do that are going to be the principles that you use to build a successful business. It's all about resources, time, and money. How do you generate time, right? And you invest resources. How do you generate money and you invest time and resource? It's a combination of those three. So if you know how to manipulate those three to generate money, you're manipulating resources and time. So if you can make money from nothing, it means that you are very good at manipulating resources and your time. And that shows me that you can generate money because you know 2 of the 3 components. So that's very important to keep that in mind. After that, then you got to, use the practices, use the guidelines, use the experiment design and all the things that we're going to teach you in the next few weeks to basically prove that your idea is worth money and people should pay you for it because the problems you're solving is worth it. It's saving them time, resources, and money, and they should pay you for that because you did their work for them to solve their problems. So that's the secret, is getting now so much value out of what you're solving that people will pay you for it. And the more people you help, the more money you'll make. So this is sort of, high level. It's easy to say this. It's easy for me to do this presentation, but there's so much under the tip of this iceberg that you need to learn to execute the strategy. And even if you do it, you're still not going to succeed 100%. You can still fail at any moment. And you probably will, I'll be honest with you. You're probably going to fail no matter how much effort you do and put into this and how perfect you think you can get it. You're just going to increase your chances of success, but it's never going to be 100%. So you do have to keep the realistic side of it, know when it's time, to close the doors. But the idea here, like Elena said in the beginning, is to try to save your ideas and try to get you past, the difficult times and reduce your chances of failure by making the right choices in the right sequence at the right time and getting over those challenging moments that take you to the next level so you can go tackle the next problem and keep going and keep going and keep going. So this is what we're here to teach you, to teach you basically all the things that we have gone through, that I have gone through, that, the successful mentors on this group have gone through. We've experienced a lot. And so come to us with your problems. Don't be shy. Don't be scared to be emotional. Don't be scared to be vulnerable. Don't be scared to tell me that you're having a very difficult day, right? Or you can't solve a problem, because that is the whole point of me being here, is to try to help you as much as I can. Maybe I won't be able to help you with everything, but with what I am confident in and what I know with facts and experience, I will try to give you the best advice I can possibly do it. I'm not going to do the work for you, but I will try to guide you in the right direction. And when you're not doing your work, I'm going to come after you, because, you're going to be wasting my time. You're going to be wasting everybody else's time. And you're going to be wasting your own time. So you either do it or you don't, right? Because there is no second chance. And no successful startup that already has, point whatever's chances of success, if you're putting in 99%, you're adding the risk of failure to your own startup by not putting 110%. It takes 110% all the time, every day. There is no break. There is no vacation. And yes, I'm a little, exaggerating, but it really is that much passion has to go into your startup. It really is important. If you don't have that, if you don't believe in your own company and you don't want to just put 110% on it, you're making it harder for yourself. So it's really important to be dedicated, to show up on time, to do the work, right? And want to be successful, because we want you to be successful, but you have to do it. It's up to you to do it, right? So I hope to see everybody at Pitch Day in a few weeks. I hope every one of you go through this program all the way to the end and do the work and turn it in on time and put effort, because what you will get out of it is the opportunity and the chances for a better success for you to achieve your dreams. So thanks again for being on this program. I'm really excited to hear the rest of your stories. I'm excited to teach you everything I know. And I really hope, we can build some successful companies together.
Mulțumim, Mike.